Hi, and welcome to the Revive, Thrive, and Optimize podcast. I'm Billy Weiss, compounding pharmacist and health and wellness expert. Today, I'm joined by Janet, co-host, and Mike behind the scenes, and we're glad that you're all here.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning.
It's starting to get light outside.
It is.
Got
Yes.
a question for you.
All right.
I love these topics when we do Ask Billy.
Okay.
And just to remind you guys, you can write, call in, or comment any question that you have, and then we're gonna ask it. So here's a question that I get a lot.
Okay.
And it is about fibromyalgia. What is it? Is it a real thing? Is it an autoimmune? Can fibromyalgia be reversed? What can we do about it? And as a movement teacher, a lot of times I'll also have people that say, I really want to take class, but I'm in too much pain. I have fibromyalgia. So let's talk all things fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go a little bit into autoimmune if we need to.
Well, definitely, I've helped a lot of people with fibromyalgia over the years, Janet. And can it be corrected? I think the body can correct it. Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
That's good news.
The problem is, I think we, like a lot of things, we don't approach it by what the cause is, right? So what is fibromyalgia? Well, fibro means fibrous tissue, muscle, and then myalgia means pain. So it's really muscle pain.
Muscle pain.
Right?
And it can be anywhere in your body?
It can be, yeah. I think the way that they diagnose it is that, I mean, in the way they're supposed to look at fibromyalgia is there's so many different pain points in the body.
So it presents
that when
differently.
they touch, they're painful, and then they say, okay, that's the fibromyalgia.
And it presents differently, I guess, with different people.
Absolutely. Yeah. But most of the common things that we hear is they just hurt, right? They're tired, they're fatigued, they're hurt, which will often lead to them being depressed, not able to exercise, those kind of things. So it's a thing that maybe starts with a little bit of pain, and then it becomes more chronic pain, and then it becomes now I'm depressed, and so it kind of leads down a road.
And is there a lot of inflammation connected with that pain?
Well, there definitely is inflammation connected with that pain. So the for whatever reason, we do think that it probably does have some autoimmune aspects to it, and it is more common, certainly more common in women than men.
And autoimmune meaning the body's attacking itself.
Yeah, the body is reacting to something, and typically that starts in our gut, and we just talked a lot in the last episode about gut health and why antibiotics and steroids and those things can be harmful to our gut over time, even things that we didn't talk about, like over-the-counter pain things like ibuprofen.
Acetaminophen, ibuprofen.
Yeah, those things can be hard, especially the ibuprofen drug class, what's called the NSAIDs, can be very hard on the gut over time.
And people take those all day, every day.
Well, the problem, Janet, is then we have people who are in pain, so what are they doing? They're taking ibuprofen, right? So they have fibromyalgia, now they're taking ibuprofen. So if there's a gut context to it, they're going to probably
make it
not
worse.
Improve it. Yeah.
Short term, you'll feel okay, and then in the long run, you're getting
Or they go to their doctor and they get a short course of steroids, which makes them feel better.
Or short term.
But then they actually are probably driving things to be worse in the long run. So really what people need to understand about muscles, okay, and fibromyalgia is the muscle pain. Mm-hmm. So the way that I explain it and the way that I have helped so many people who have said, hey, my fibromyalgia is just gone over, my symptoms are gone.
And we need that person to come in and do a testimonial.
Well, there's several that we probably could, if, a lot of people don't want to come on camera, but I have a bunch of them that I've helped. Yeah. So it's really lack of energy to the muscles.
To the muscle cells.
To the muscles themselves. So what you have to understand is this. When a muscle doesn't have enough energy, it will contract. Mm-hmm. So I always use this example because I think it's the easiest way that we can all typically relate to. Okay. You're laying in the bed one evening and maybe you've worked really hard. Maybe you were cleaning up a bunch of limbs and stuff from the storm in your yard, or you were exercised a lot and you sweat and it was hot. And you're laying in the bed and you jump up because your calf
is
cramping. Okay.
It's that, ugh.
Yeah. So that calf is in a ball.
Yeah. That's the worst.
Yes, it is the worst. Been there, done that. Like most people have. And that's why I like to use this example. That is the muscle doesn't have enough energy. So muscles are unique in the fact that they will ball up when they don't have enough energy. And they're called smooth muscle, right? And they will relax and get really smooth and elongated, which you know a lot about doing yoga and Pilates teaching, when they have ample energy. So
how do we give them plenty, ample energy?
So what happens, fibromyalgia. Now, this is not the medical definition. This is Billy's definition. Let's make clear on that. It's simply lack of energy to the muscles. It's that simple. And so the way that we fix it is to give them the energy that they need to help their muscles relax.
So, and magnesium immediately comes to mind.
Oh, it's number one. They're 100% magnesium deficient because the number one way to get energy to that muscle is magnesium. The number one rate limiting factor to energy in that muscle is magnesium. So yes, the magnesium in the foundational 4 is a huge part of what we do. But you have to understand their lack of energy to their muscle is typically driven by the topic we ended on last week, which is insulin resistance.
Insulin resistance, and that ties into what you're putting into your gut.
So the insulin resistance, and this may get too complicated for a podcast, but I think it's important for people to understand.
All right, come on, stay with us, you guys.
All right. So when we are not insulin resistant and we're making a little bit of insulin when we eat, that's how the body uses insulin to put energy into the cells, right? So insulin's very important. But we just want a little bit of insulin to open up the cell door and let the energy in. In other words, let the food in, which lets the nutrients in, which lets the vitamins and minerals in. Mm-hmm. So we have to have ample vitamins and minerals to make energy in the muscles. So number one, most people are nutrient deficient. We can fix that. Foundational 4, vitamin D with Super K, methylated B complex, CoQ10. I mean, there's a lot of places we can go, right, with that.
It's such a difference being on your supplements versus
quality, the world's best. Yeah. That's what we talk about, right? So number one, when the body is working efficiently and it has small amounts of insulin when we eat, it opens that cell door, and we'll call that the front door. Okay. The front door to your house.
And that's that little bit of insulin with lots of energy going
That's right. And so it allows all the vitamins A, B, C, D, E, K, magnesium, potassium, CoQ10. I mean, all these different things are going into that cell, and the cell says, oh, I can make energy. So that muscle will now relax and not cramp up. When we go in the front door, we make 38 units of what's called energy, or ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So the front door, when we open those cells, it makes 38 units of energy. And we have trillions of cells in our body, and a lot of them are in the muscles. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that is a very clean burning, efficient way to make energy. So we're not creating a lot of pollution. And when I say pollution, I mean acids. We're not creating a lot of lactic acid. We're not creating a lot of uric acid. Mm-hmm. We're not creating those things. Okay, pyruvic acid.
Things that typically make you sore.
Right. So the other thing that we have to understand is when those muscles are tight and we're not going through the front door to make that 38 units of energy, then we have to go through the back door to make energy. The body has 2 systems to get these cells open, okay?
Front door and back door.
Front door and back door. So I tell people, think of your back doors padlocked, your front doors open. That's the way you want it.
Front door, you just walk right in. It's easy.
That's right. So the body can cleanly make this energy, and it makes 38 units.
Back door, you got to call in the SWAT team.
That's correct. It's like the SWAT team comes in the middle of the night. They bust the door down. And now, so they've created this big mess, right? Mm. All this havoc is happening. Mm. So now you're building up uric acid, pyruvic acid, lactic acid, things that make you hurt. Mm. And more importantly, you're producing now 2 units of ATP
instead of
every time that cell door opens.
38.
So that's 19 times less energy. So now to go in the back door, we get not enough energy to the muscles and they ball up.
And this is happening with people who take too much insulin also.
It can
if
definitely
you're diabetic.
it definitely can make them more prone to it, for sure. So what happens is when we do this path through the back door, we're creating all this waste product. It's a very inefficient, not clean way to produce energy. So we're producing all these acids that then make the joints
which
and the
create
muscles
pain.
hurt more,
Yeah.
right? And so now we get to the point where we say, Janet, we can't come to the yoga class. We don't feel like it.
We're depressed.
Number one, we don't have the energy because we're making 2 units
and
instead
we hurt.
of 38, and we're in pain all the time.
Yeah.
And now we're depressed because we hurt and we're in pain.
And then we go to the doctor, and
they
the
give
doctor
us an
says,
antidepressant, and they give us Lyrica or gabapentin to try to cover up the pain. And it just doesn't
goes
work.
round and round and round. Short term, maybe it helps a little bit.
It may make them feel better for a little while, but there's 398 side effects for one drug. There's exponential, we don't know, for multiple drugs.
And just getting on magnesium alone could maybe be a huge game changer.
Well, the magnesium will be a huge part of it because that is the number one rate limiting factor to going in the front door, right? So the most common reason people can't go in the front door and produce 38 units
is magnesium
deficiency. Now, it's not just magnesium, but that's the number one reason when you look at the studies.
Now, everybody's going to run out to Walmart and CVS and Walgreens and grab some magnesium. Why shouldn't they do that?
Well, because they will be not getting cellular magnesium. Yeah. They will be getting a laxative form of magnesium that just won't work. Yeah. And 80% of the time, they're not even getting magnesium. 95% of the time, they're getting something toxic. So
you got to know what's in your supplements, and you want to have, what is it, 5 salt
We have
magnesium?
5 salts, so we're hitting the energy pathway 5 different ways.
Mm-hmm. And it goes into your cells.
And it's cellular magnesium.
Yeah. So it's going to really help your fibromyalgia.
It can really help.
Your hormones.
The other thing that's really important in producing this energy would be the OptiU multivitamin. Okay. Because any one vitamin or mineral deficiency can stop us from going in the front door.
Oh.
And think of the people that 70 cents out of every dollar, we talked about this in the last podcast,
is spent on
processed foods, which not only is void of vitamins and
nutrients,
minerals, but it actually requires your body to use vitamins and minerals to try to metabolize and process that food, or I shouldn't call it food, that
chemicals,
so-called food.
And then that goes back to destroying your gut.
So now they're vitamin and mineral deficient. They're which magnesium is a vitamin and mineral, but they're especially magnesium deficient. And remember, they have insulin resistance in most cases. Insulin causes the body to spit more magnesium out in the urine. So now they're more prone to be more magnesium resistant.
And dehydrated.
Now they're making 19 times less energy. The muscles stay balled up and they hurt all the time.
So it's a real thing. Fibromyalgia, you are tired, you're depressed,
I think it's
and
a real
you hurt.
thing.
Absolutely.
I definitely think it's a real thing. Yeah, I know some people will say, oh, it's made up. I don't think that.
No, me either.
I think what happens is people don't know how to fix it, and they just say, or they don't know how to help these patients, and so they say,
it's all in your head.
It's probably in your head.
Go out there and work out or something.
So what we need to do is put these people on a plan
Support
to help
them.
their body make more energy. And what that will do, Janet, number one, is over time, it will start to help those muscles relax. They will start to go back through the front door, 38 instead of 2 units of energy every time those cell doors open.
How long does that take to
for some
switch?
For some people, Janet, literally a day or 2. Wow. For other people, and I would say for these people, they're probably not really following the plan. It can take a lot longer. Yeah. But I've had people, and I won't say her name because I haven't asked her, if I can tell her story. But I had a young lady come in. This is probably maybe 20 years ago now, 15 or 20 years ago. I'd have to ask her. She come into my pharmacy one day, and she was crying. And I'd never met her. And she said, somebody sent me here, and I hope you can help me. And so I asked her what was going on, and she said, well, I have fibromyalgia. I own my own hair salon. and I'm going to have to quit. I'm going to have to sell it. I'm going to have to do something.
Pain.
I'm going to shut it down. I cannot stand there anymore.
She was in pain and didn't have any energy.
Right. And she was just distraught. And I said, well, if it's truly fibromyalgia, you have lack of energy to the muscles. I didn't get into anything complicated. I said, are you willing to try some stuff to give your muscles more energy? And so put her on the foundational 4, the multivitamin, the probiotic, the digestive enzyme, the magnesium. Put her on vitamin D with Super K. Mm-hmm. Put her on a product called Inflozyme.
Mm-hmm. It's a great one.
And got her drinking Kangen water because we need alkaline water to start to flush all the acids out that these people are building up from coming in the back door.
Lactic acid and all that.
Lactic, pyruvic, and uric acids are building up, which makes them hurt more. Mm-hmm. So it was probably 3, 4, 5 days later. I mean, again, it's been a lot of years. But she come in and it kind of shocked me because she said, can I give you a hug? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, my pain. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sell my shop. I'm not going to close it down. I feel so much better. Now, the cool thing about this story is, Janet, this was, again, more than a decade ago, certainly. I see her in the pharmacy, a couple times a month, getting her supplements, she's now on bioidentical hormones. I mean, she's made a major turnaround and still running that shop.
And think about where she could be, if she had not found you, if she had not gotten on that path.
Well, she could be
in bed.
She would be on Lyrica or gabapentin, some other pain, something, probably an antidepressant. Who knows? But now she's on supplements. She bought her own Kangen water machine. She has balanced her hormones. I mean, she's doing great. And obviously she's older than she's ever been, but she's still able to run her business and do the things that she likes to do.
And that's such a ripple effect when someone in the community can take control of their health. And just by taking care of yourself, sometimes you don't realize how the ripple effect is.
Well, the ripple effect of somebody fixing women's hair has been tremendous.
Yeah.
You can imagine how
all
many
people she
has talked to and sent in to get supplements for whatever condition, maybe not fibromyalgia necessarily, but all these things she's talking to these people, right? So, it has made a huge difference, not only for her, but for a lot of other people that she comes in contact with. So
teaching and preaching.
So the bottom line is fibromyalgia, we need to give their bodies more energy. Now,
energy to the muscle.
Energy to the muscle, which makes them feel better. It starts to ease the pain. We got to lower their acid levels, which releasing the muscles will do that. Because I tell people, fibromyalgia, when that muscle is tight and you think of that cramp at night, they're kind of in that state
all the time. So and I would think your nervous system is...
It's like they're working out all the time. So they're building up. And that's what makes us sore, right? When we work out really hard, we get sore from the buildup of the acids.
And you're exhausted, whereas normally when you work out, it gives you more energy. In this case, it tanks you completely.
Right. And so you think about this. These people have this metabolic condition of insulin resistance. So now they're not making enough energy in the cells, or they're making it very inefficiently through the back door. That makes them spit out more magnesium and things in their urine. So now they become more mineral and vitamin deficient. And they just get more and more down in their depressed, or I don't want to say they're depressed, but they just give up, right? They get more and more like, I can't fix this.
Yeah. And your hormones are out of whack because you need the magnesium to help with your hormones.
We were talking about, Mike brought up earlier, he wondered if there were some hard studies on different things of people who are
We couldn't do this without Mike.
But no, we couldn't, for sure. But there is an absolute, and I teach, a whole thing in my summit about this. There's an absolute fact that when you believe that you have something and you believe that you can overcome it,
every cell in your body is going in that direction of that belief.
And that's what I find. And I don't mean this as anything bad against anybody with any disease, but if people believe they have fibromyalgia and there's nothing they can do about it, probably because that's what their expert has told them,
then they are correct.
They are not going to get better, period. the girl, and I almost said her name, I apologize. I think she wanted to get better. Not that all of them don't want to, but they don't really believe they can. So I tell everybody the mind is the most powerful thing. And, I talk about it a lot, and I bring it up in my summit. One of my favorite quotes, and this may not be exactly how he said it, but this is exactly how I interpret it, exactly what he meant, I think. Henry Ford. Mm-hmm. He said, if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're right. And I don't think he had science behind it, but there is science behind it.
Absolutely.
And so I tell people, and I mean it when I say it, I can't get sick with these viruses that are going around.
And you don't.
Does that mean I absolutely couldn't? I don't know. I haven't so far. I don't. And I don't put my body in a situation where I think I can.
Yeah.
And so I think my body is prepared not to have any of these things. And so it's a lot of it has to be the mindset. Now, in defense of these folks, they've probably tried so many other things, and they've been through it so long, and they won't give. A lot of times, in my experience, people won't give what we recommend, what I teach them, enough go, and they won't really commit, and they won't do it long enough. And so, now things I didn't have when I helped this young lady, we didn't have as much. I certainly didn't have nearly as much knowledge on the hormones and how important they are to get optimized, because a lot of this with these people is their mood, their depression, they don't feel like they can get better, and that can be from low testosterone, low estradiol, low progesterone. Yeah. I didn't even think of that back then.
And it's a whole symphony.
It's a symphony of hormones.
And
working.
what comes up for me though is, when I came to you, I was feeling at that place where I was so discouraged. I thought I was doing everything right. My joints hurt so bad.
I remember you couldn't do your handstands anymore.
Do a handstand or a cartwheel or a downward dog, for yoga, all that, my shoulders, my wrist. And I had a lot to do with my gut, my insulin, my hormones, all of that. But the biggest thing for me, and I think for people who have maybe given up, is that once we find this community of people, we hear these testimonials, we start tapping into these podcasts, then we get encouraged. And then from the encouragement and the support, we get determined. And then from there, the mindset starts to change. And that's so important.
That's why it's so important for people to come through the weekend, in my mind.
Absolutely. That's what I was getting to.
They're around a whole group of people who have either done it or want to do it.
And or they've been there.
Or in the middle of doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's very encouraging when you're around that many people for 2 full days and they go, I overcome this, this works, this does this, Billy's vitamin did this. So the bottom line for fibromyalgia is, let's give energy to the body, to the muscles specifically. Mm-hmm. Let's reduce their acidity. Mm-hmm. Let's reduce their inflammation. Mm-hmm. And that's where, when we can do those 3 things, they will absolutely start to have more energy and less pain and a better outlook.
And more hope.
And then there you go, more hope. Mm-hmm. And so if we can get them to stick with us long enough, one of the things, again, that I didn't have all these years ago, the red light bed.
Yeah.
The red light bed absolutely helps reduce inflammation. Now, I
want to do a podcast at the red light bed.
We should do that. Absolutely reduces inflammation and increases energy in the body. And if you don't believe it, try it. But you have to give it time. You're not going to get in there for one 12-minute session and go, oh, wow, I feel like $1 million. You're not going to take the foundational 4 and the vitamin D and the Infozyme one night and go, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You have probably been doing this and had this condition for decades.
Yeah. It's not going to change in a week.
It's not just going to just magically go away. Now, the story I told, it was very short term. She could tell massive difference, and she's still doing it today. It's not always quite that easy.
Yeah.
But for some people it can be. But it's about a lifestyle. It's about following the 5 pillars of the OptiU plan.
And that's where, if you come to the summit, if you get involved at all, or even just call for a consultation and start little by little, that It's fun. It's funny because just yesterday, my husband said, "When is that weekend class with Billy again?" He goes, "I just can't wait to do it again."
That's
like,
awesome.
I just can't wait.
That's awesome.
And it's that kind of, it's fun and it's eye-opening and it gives people so much hope. So just if you can get yourself to sit down and just come listen, that's step one. And little by little by little, you'll have the support that you need to get to week 2, week 3, week 4. And then as you start feeling changes in your body, if you have fibromyalgia or whatever it is, then, the snowball
going down the right side.
Is going down the right side of the mountain, right? Getting better and better and better.
Yeah. And Janet, one of the things that I hope people get from this is that there's a difference in my mind, okay? In people who go to a medical provider, and I'm not being critical of this, I'm just telling you the way it works, that has to see 20, 30, 40 people a day because that's the only way they can make a living.
15
with the
minutes
insurance
to
system.
see them.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes max. And they're just kind of in this, okay, give them this drug. Versus when they come to a consult with me, I can take that hour or more, and we can really try to get to what's creating their problem rather than saying, hey, let's just take a prescription for this.
You're going to get to the source.
Why
and
do you
talk
have
about
fibromyalgia?
The whole lifestyle.
Why do you have pain?
Yeah.
Why do you have reflux? Why do you have,
gut
issues? Why do you have the
diabetes.
skin condition? And then
your hair is falling out, all these things.
I try to explain it to them in a way that they can understand what's going on in their body. And then we try to implement a plan, just like with fibromyalgia, to
and
increase
that empowers us so much.
Right.
We feel so empowered
and
after
then
leaving.
People can hopefully follow that plan and start to feel the differences pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And like you said, then it's just one week after another, one step in front of the other. And people can really make a difference in the way they feel, the way they live. They can make a difference for the rest of their life, just like she has.
And that
it's
ripple
decade
effect.
Later or more, and she's still doing it. And she's still doing great. And she's still doing her hair at her own shop.
Well, I got to go teach a yoga class right now,
right,
and I'm hoping that I can share some of this.
Awesome.
And while I'm there, I'll get some new questions.
Great. We'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Bye.